Virginia Peninsula Community College and the Department of Police Safety and Security present Clery Act Student Travel Guidelines and Reporting. The focus audience for this particular training module are those faculty, staff, and/or volunteers of the college who coordinate and/or travel with students. This training module will review Virginia Peninsula Community College Clery Act requirements and specifically how those relate to student travel, student trip and travel coordinators, student travel definitions, student travel and Clery geography, and student travel guidelines. This module further covers student travel notification requirements, a review of the reported system, what to report, when to report, where to report, and how to report incidents, trip travel coordinators and your timely warning and emergency notification requirements, and the intersection of the Clery Act and Title IX requirements. The Clery Act requires colleges and universities to disclose statistics for specific crimes that occur during college-sponsored trips to non-campus locations that are frequently used by students and/or controlled by the college during the trip. Virginia Peninsula Community College is required to request crime statistics from the local law enforcement agencies regarding crimes that occurred during a qualifying VPCC sponsored trip. Virginia Peninsula Community College is required to share via crime log and annual security reports certain crimes and crime statistics. Virginia Peninsula Community College is required to issue timely warnings and emergency notifications regarding certain incidents that may be past occurrences and/or actively occurring. In this section of the training, we're going to talk about student travel definitions, which include field trips, overnight or short stays, space at other colleges and universities, research vessels and study abroad opportunities, and what we mean by the frequency of use of certain areas or facilities. Field trips. A Virginia Peninsula Community College Clery Act student travel form is required for any trips that include an overnight stay and if the college enters into an agreement for any accommodations or related academic space used in conjunction with the trip. You are not required to report field trips that are not overnight stays and are at locations for which Virginia Peninsula Community College does not own or control or have an agreement for the use of the location. Overnight trips or short stay away trips. If Virginia Peninsula Community College sponsors any short stay or away trips for more than one night for its students, all locations used by students during the trip, controlled by the institution during the trip, i.e. hotels or rented classroom space, and used to support educational purposes should be reported on a Virginia Peninsula Community College Clery Act student travel form. Any overnight trips organized by current students that are not covered by any sponsoring or agreement from Virginia Peninsula Community College does not qualify as a Clery reportable non-campus location, and therefore completion of the travel form is not required. Overnight trips or short stay away trips. If Virginia Peninsula Community College sponsors any short stay or away trips for more than one night for its students, all locations used by students during the trip, controlled by the institution during the trip, i.e. hotels or rented classroom space, and used to support educational purposes should be reported on a Virginia Peninsula Community College Clery Act student travel form. Any overnight trips organized by current students that are not covered by any sponsoring or agreement from Virginia Peninsula Community College does not qualify as a Clery reportable non-campus location, and therefore completion of the travel form is not required. Space at other colleges and universities. If Virginia Peninsula Community College has an agreement with another college or university to directly or indirectly rent, lease, or use a building or property or a portion of a building or property, i.e. room or floor, at the other college or university, A Virginia Peninsula Community College Clery Act student travel form should be submitted. If Virginia Peninsula Community College does not have an agreement for the space used, this form is not required. Research vessels, field study, and/or study abroad. The college must disclose statistics for the research vessel or the areas controlled by the college while students are on board. If the college owns or controls property through an agreement used for field study that does not meet the definition of a separate campus, but that is frequently used by students, the college is required to report crimes that occur at that location. The frequency of use is a key factor, especially for institutions sponsoring trips or using facilities for educational purposes. This refers to how often students utilize a specific location for educational purposes or lodging. This includes repeated use of the same park, beach, facility, hotel, etc. While we understand that this can often not be avoided due to the nature of the work, event, education that is completed, it does place the space in the frequently used category and is considered reportable Clery geography. While there are 3 Clery geography categories, student travel off campus falls into the non-campus category. Non-campus buildings or property is defined as any building or property owned or controlled by a student organization that is officially recognized by the institution, or any building or property owned or controlled by an institution that is used in direct support of or in relation to the institution's educational purposes, is frequently used by students, and is not within the same reasonably contiguous geographic area of the institution. Virginia Peninsula Community College does not have any residential halls or facilities. In addition, the college does not have any officially recognized student organization that owns or controls any building or property. In this section, we're going to talk about location, use, overnight stay, college ownership, and/or control. So when we're discussing student travel in Clery geography, there are certain considerations that have to be made. The question is not who is traveling. An example, athletic team, student group, organization, club, or even class or educational field trips. The question is not why you're traveling, lecture, learning, performance, research, conference. The question is not how far you are traveling, 2 miles, 2,000 miles, or to another continent. The question is not exactly how long you will be traveling, 1 hour or 1 year. The questions revolve around ownership versus control. Ownership is simple. We either do or do not own the property under the Clery Act. Control is based upon the previous information regarding agreements. Is there an informal or formal agreement for the use of the space between the college, a college employee, or an authorizing agent of the space of the location to be used? If yes, it must be reported. If no, a dialogue through the college's risk management team should be initiated with regard to our ability to use and/or occupy space without an agreement, the liabilities, and the responsibilities for the use of that space. Keep in mind, this is specific to Clery Act requirements. Title IX requirements and reporting must be considered, discussed, and understood prior to traveling and/or using a space or location. Agreement for use. If there is an agreement, written or verbal, defined as a rental or lease document or other written form of agreement, which may be an email, directly between the college or VCCS and a provider for use of academic, classroom, and/or residential lodging space, the agreement does not need to be a formal agreement. Anything in writing agreeing to the utilization of space by VPCC suffices, including a letter, email, or a hotel receipt. It does not matter whether a fee is charged or not. If the agreement allows use of the space free of charge, there is still an agreement. If there is an agreement, Clery reporting requirements apply for those areas specified in the agreement, as well as the common areas leading to those spaces, such as a lobby, elevator, hallways, entryways, stairwells, etc. This section is going to talk about student travel notification requirements. College units, departments, and groups sponsoring student travel are required to complete and submit a VPCC Clery Act student travel form if the travel meets the definitions and/or Clery geography from any of the preceding slides. If you are uncertain, complete the form. It is always good to have on file in case of an emergency or if contact must be initiated with you or your group. As a reminder, Virginia Peninsula Community College has designated all employees and volunteers as Clery Campus Security Authorities and as Title IX responsible employees. All employees and volunteers are therefore mandatory reporters. Prior to completing this training module, you should have completed the Clery Overview and Campus Security Authority training module. If you arrange, coordinate, chaperone, coach, or otherwise accompany students on college-sponsored student travel, you are also considered a Campus Security Authority Trip Travel Coordinator. You have additional Campus Security Authority responsibilities with regard to reporting your travel, activities, accommodations, locations, etc. to the Department of Police Safety and Security. You have additional Campus Security Authority responsibilities with regard to reporting incidents or events, advising students of their rights and responsibilities, as well as an active part in the issuance of timely warning and emergency notification to the group with which you are traveling. Complete a VPCC Clery student travel form prior to traveling. The best practice is to complete that form as you are planning your travel. This allows the Department of Police Safety and Security to share the requirements for your travel. Specific travelers can be updated throughout the planning process, as well as immediately prior to your travel in cases where a scheduled traveler does not participate. Updates to the Department of Police Safety and Security need to be made in instances where traveler lodging locations are changed during travel. Complete the VPCC Clery student travel form prior to traveling. Be specific. Provide the exact location and addresses for your trips and travel. Name of location and expected use of the location, athletic event, play, musical, research, education, etc. Name and address of lodging facilities, specific room numbers occupied by VPCC students, faculty, and/or staff traveling. Name of students, employees, and/or volunteers traveling. What type of agreement, if any, is in place, and by whom for use of the space, verbal, email, legal, etc. As a student trip travel coordinator, you need to remind all employees and volunteers that they must report any crimes or misconduct that they witness and/or are reported to them. Encourage students to report all crimes or misconduct that they witness and/or where they may be a victim of criminal behavior or misconduct, to include unwanted sexual advances, harassment, hazing, sexual assault, etc. Student trip travel coordinators are also responsible for assisting with the timely warning and emergency notification process during travel. Trip travel coordinators shall ensure that the students studying at the location are made aware of crimes that are reported to you or other trip travel coordinators in collaboration with the Department of Police Safety and Security and/or the Title IX coordinator. Guidance will be provided with regard to when to share information, how to share, and what to share as timely warnings and emergency notifications. In this section, we'll review the Clery crime reporting process. Must-have information for a Campus Security Authority report includes who was involved, what occurred, where did it occur, when did it occur, and how did it occur. The accuracy of the information provided in your report can assist with the criminal investigation, annual reporting requirements, the issuance of a timely warning and/or emergency notification is determined necessary and appropriate. If the victim wishes to remain anonymous, at the request of the victim, identifying information may be excludable from your report, including the names, initials, contact information, etc. Anonymity cannot be guaranteed. However, if the incident involves sexual violence, sexual assault, dating, domestic violence, or stalking, according to federal law, identifying information must be reported to the college's Title IX coordinator. If the crime is in progress or is an emergent situation, dial 911 from your cell phone and immediately report the crime to the local law enforcement agency having jurisdiction. If you are reporting a past crime or notification of a crime that has been shared with you as a campus security authority, you can report through one of three different mechanisms. Submit a Campus Security Authority or CSA report, which can be found in the Report It section of the Gator Ready mobile safety app. You can submit a Campus Security Authority or CSA report through the college's Report It webpage, accessible through the Department of Police Safety and Security webpage. Immediately contact the Department of Police Safety and Security by calling 757-825-2732. Please remember, do not report crimes in the Maxient reporting system, and if you have an emergency, dial 911. A brief review of how to handle crime disclosure. Your job is to report whatever incident information the persons or persons provides to you. As a CSA, you are not responsible for determining authoritatively whether a crime took place and should not try to apprehend alleged suspects of crimes. CSAs are not detectives or investigators. You are not supposed to identify who was at fault or find the perpetrators, but do ask as many questions as you can to get as much detail as possible. The Department of Police Safety and Security will conduct an investigation to determine if a crime occurred. The Department of Police Safety and Security will collaborate with the Threat Assessment Team, appropriate Title IX officer, and/or Code of Conduct officer as necessary and/or appropriate. When in doubt, report it out. The ultimate determination of whether Clery reporting is required for any particular trip is a decision that will be made by the Virginia Peninsula Community College Clery Compliance Officer or their designee. If you have questions about whether to submit a Virginia Peninsula Community College Clery Act student travel form or any other questions about VPCC's Clery geography, please contact the VPCC Clery Compliance Officer or their designee. As mentioned in your first module of CSA training, you do not have to determine if what you witness or are told is a clearly defined reportable crime or Title IX violation. Report it. There are processes for those determinations. Again, when in doubt, report it out. If you have Title IX travel-related questions, please refer to the VPCC Sexual Misconduct and Title IX webpage for additional Title IX information and Title IX coordinator contact information. As you have completed Module 1 of Campus Security Authority training with Clery Act overview, and you're now working through this module regarding student travel, you've likely noticed there's an intersection of the Clery Act and Title IX federal requirements. Some crimes and/or incidents may not be classified under the Clery Act. However, they may be relevant based upon Title IX requirements. Refer to the college's information on the Title IX reporting requirements for on or off-campus locations, trips, athletic events, and other information. This graphic presents that intersection of the Clery Act and Title IX and Violence Against Women Act, VAWA, crimes. As you can see, Title IX encompasses things such as admissions and financial aid, facilities, verbal, sexual harassment, athletics, unequal pay. Clery includes crime logs, primary crimes, hate crimes, missing persons, drug, alcohol, weapons offenses, timely warning and emergency notification, and that intersection with crimes of sexual violence. As we close this module, we want to remind everyone that safety is everyone's responsibility. If you see something, say something. Make safety first, make safety last.